if the response is strong and if the demand is so visible, and if the DLF brand in a sense is now giving you that commanding power, are you not tempted to accelerate your future launches also? I'm asking you to talk about a future launch when this launch is already complete, but that is the management thinking typically when you see such a strong response.
So I think I mean, in some sense, you are correct, Nikunj. We are working on our launch pipeline for next fiscal. In fact, by the time we come up with our annual results in early May and the analyst calls and media interactions after that, I think we should be able to give you a far more concrete action plan for next year. But you are correct that we are looking at accelerating the launch pipeline, not only in Gurgaon, but in other parts of the geography as well. Because as we have all seen that the recovery of real estate sector has been pretty secular across the country. So hopefully by the time, in the next 4 to 6 weeks, when we come to you with the annual results, we should give you a more concrete action plan. I mean, this has obviously put a lot of pressure on us, because if this is the pre-sales we are doing this year, then obviously this has put a lot of pressure on the guidance for next year as well.
Right, and Akash, while you guys are all smiles this morning, perhaps asking a question that may wipe out the smiles or perhaps be a cause of concern, just wanted to understand, given that it's been flattish in terms of the leasing performance on a sequential basis, there are also these recessionary concerns. Is there any slowdown in leasing activity across the office portfolio?
Actually, no, because our vacancy levels in the peak of COVID had reached about 15-16%. They have been declining sequentially. I think today they are in the 8 to 9% range. Our conventional used to be 5%, and I think we are hopefully making progress. We did the 2 downtowns completion in Cyber City, and both of those have been 100% pre-leased. Our pre-leasing performance of our Chennai downtown is also very strong. So yes, I mean, you are correct that obviously all of these global recessionary pieces, could have a slight slowing down impact. But at least so far, I mean, in the last 3 to 4 quarters, the leasing of the offices seems to have definitely come out of the COVID sort of, the COVID downturn. On the retail malls, obviously, it's been a completely different story. It's been the sharpest of the V curves that you could have seen, frankly. And all the retail malls that we have are now not only recovering from COVID, I think most of them are actually doing better than what they were doing pre-COVID, which is the reason why we are accelerating our retail capex as well.
Also, I think what's happening is there's a global story going on in India, So I think let's not discount that, because no matter what's happening outside, and you can't be oblivious of that, but India is making strides. There are companies which are now, consciously moving out of China and coming to India. And there's a lot of work. So I don't think at this point in time, there are concerns, but there is optimism as well.
Akash, do you see the price trend in Gurgaon being like a multi-year trend? Whereas if I use a thumb rule that real estate in a good market where demand is more, and if India is accelerating, the demand will be firm and the price trend would be at least 2 or 3% more than what the GDP growth is. I mean, that's the thumb rule, that GDP growth plus 2 or 3% is the average price trend if I look at the 5-year chart. Do you see that playing out again in Gurgaon this time?
So, Nikunj, if you look at like a 10-year horizon, so as an example, Crest has doubled in about 8 years, which will give you a 10-11% CAGR, which is broadly what you are saying, GDP plus 3 or 4%. But yes, there will be, slices of that interval when you will see these extremely strong price trends, like there will be slices where you could potentially see a plateauing also. So, but I do believe that that Gurgaon, aided by the fact that it had coming off a long fallow period, and by the fact that the more credible developers like us are hopefully, getting the premium that they deserve, I think Gurgaon is, NCR and overall, and definitely Gurgaon is going through a strong phase.
So the spikes you will see an upward spike, and you will see a downward. But let me assure you, in Gurgaon, if you've been following this over the last, let's say, I won't even go decade, but over the last 5 years, you will see it comes down, plateaus to a certain level. It doesn't go down.
Yeah.
And then it starts, the next benchmark starts actually from that. So today, if you're looking at, I'll give you a small example of the Camellias. sometime back, not very long back, Camellias was trading at about 30 odd crores. And that was supposed to be, my God, what prices are these? Today, happy to inform you that the Camellias are between 45 to 50 crores an apartment. And nobody even bats an eyelid about it, because today that's the kind of work that's happening. And that's the demand that the product, commands. And today, whether it is Camellias, I'm talking about across price points, across products. You look at Crest, which is a luxury product. You look at Ultima, which is a premium luxury product in New Gurgaon. All these have risen sharply. And, let me make this very clear to you. These are, again, not investor investments. These are not investor sales. These are people who are actually buying for themselves. And I can vouch that to you. Over the last 1 year, I may have met millions of people who have reached out to me, and I've sold to millions of people who are actually buying for themselves. So I'm seeing this change. And when real estate and a home becomes a priority, then interest rates and everything else actually is secondary, because then you're buying your home, you're buying a bigger home, and you want to live in a better home. So COVID has changed those practices. COVID has also told you life is finite, so live it up when you can. So, real estate is something which I maintain is in our blood. I don't think it's going to go out like that. I don't think other asset classes and all, there may be momentary, they can take over, but real estate is timeless. So that is something that I've seen it over these many years, and I completely stand by it.